just if I may, off the bat, obviously the Eagles' defense has come under quite a lot of scrutiny in recent weeks. Has there been anything that you've seen that maybe stands out as an attacking point?
No, I think they're an outstanding defense. I feel like they get good pressure on the quarterback, and that's sort of where that starts for them up front, and they play a good scheme in the back end. So, based on what I'm watching on film, and getting ready to play them, we got a lot of respect for what they are as a defense.
Hey, Pat, this is Ed Kratz with the Sports Exchange. You're sitting at 1-4. The Eagles are at 2-3. The season's kind of getting, 5 games in here. Lane Johnson called this kind of a must-win game. How do you feel about this game? Is this a game that you have to win?
Well, I think they all are. I think, as the season goes along, there's always an urgency to win, and the way our division is playing out, I think, it's important that it's important to win the division games, and certainly a win against the Eagles would be big for us. I think we're playing each week. We're playing a little bit better. We're a new team with a lot of new players, and we just got to. We fell 63 yards short of winning this past week, and we got to do what we have to do to get it over the top.
Is there any differences majorly from your time that you've noticed when you were with the Philadelphia Eagles in terms of how the team runs their offense now?
No, I think the offense is similar. I recognize, most of the concepts they try to run. And, I was with Jeff Stoutland, who is currently their line coach. When I was there with, he and I were with Chip, so I see a lot of the same run concepts, plus the ones that Doug, obviously brought from the Chiefs. And then from my West Coast background, I recognize, when I watch them, they're sort of the patterns they're trying to run. So, I think I'm familiar with it. I think they execute extremely well. They got an outstanding quarterback, and for them it comes down to execution and, really good players making plays.
Hey, Pat, Doug talked today about the one plus about the Thursday night game so fast after loss to kind of get the bad taste out of your mouth fast. Is that one good thing about playing Thursday night this week, to kind of put Sunday behind you as fast as you can?
Yeah, win, lose, or draw. I think we all play one Thursday night game. I think I actually like preparing for short weeks because I think you don't overthink it from a game plan standpoint. You kind of settle in on the things you feel like you do best. And I think that's my approach to it. I think certainly we're playing an outstanding opponent, and we got to be at our best. The hardest challenge for a Thursday night game is the players getting themselves back physically on a short week.
With this being a local game as well, so even if you are on the road, it's obviously only a short trip away. Does it make that transition a little bit easier for the players?
Well, for us, certainly playing at home, it does. I think if you have to travel a long distance, then certainly that's harder on the team. But with Philly just jumping in the bus, come on up here, I think it's probably, to your point, probably a little easier.
Pat, how would you assess the play of Eli this season? How has he done, do you think, overall through these 5 games?
I think he's improved each week. I think he's a really, really good quarterback that's very well accomplished in this league. You're not a 2-time Super Bowl MVP for no reason. He said he had a really fine career, and I think, as we go along here and we get more and more comfortable with the concepts that he's comfortable with, I think we as an offense will continue to improve. I think even though it was in a losing effort, it was probably it obviously was our best performance in terms of scoring points yesterday. And, obviously the quarterback's a big piece to that.
When you look at the impact of Ciccone Barkley on this offense, how do you see that translating against one of the league's best run defenses right now?
Well, Saquon's obviously a terrific player. Whether we run it with him or we throw it to him, You know, I think he finds a way to make yards. The challenge will be certainly blocking the front, you know, and doing what we have to do there to certainly, you know, stay ahead of the downs, and you know, really we want to be efficient running it, and then, you know, Ciccone, his skill and ability, has a way of, you know, getting some explosive gains in there, which are big for the offense.
Pat, it seems like your offensive line has kind of settled down a little bit too after, you know, starting the season a little slowly, and then you lose your center. I mean, how has that gone? How has that been able to stabilize a little bit for you?
Well, to your point, I think each week they play better and better, and you know, we made the switch with Eric Flowers and Chad Wheeler, you know, at right tackle. You know, when Pio went down, you know, I thought Greco stepped in and done a nice job there. And then certainly with Will Hernandez as a rookie playing at the left guard, you know, he's seen a lot of things for the first time. And, you know, so, you know, I think young players that are good players, you know, get better quickly, you know, and I think as a unit with Nate Solder in there and then Pat Omame, I think they're starting to come together a little bit.
You saw Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham up close during your time here in Philly. I mean, what do you need to do to block those guys? What do you tell your line to block them?
Yeah, I mean, they're two of the finer players in the league, you know, and I think, you know, the big challenge is somewhere along the line they're going to be, you know, we're going to have to block them one-on-one. You know, it's not possible to double team everybody, you know, so, you know, our guys have got to be on their game. You know, the thing with Fletcher is he's so powerful, but he's also quick, you know, and he can create pass rush from the middle, and that's really tough on an offense. And then, you know, BG, I mean, he obviously can rush well against tackles, but when they put him in there on a guard, sometimes that quickness is a little bit of a surprise for a guard. You know, with all those yards and all those points scored in the Super Bowl, it came down to one rush by Brandon Graham against the guard to knock the ball out of Brady's hand. So, you know, we're certainly aware of what they can do and how they can really affect the offense.
Pat, you obviously had a short stint with the Philadelphia Eagles as their interim head coach after Chip Kelly was dismissed. Did you take anything from that experience when you then moved later to the New York Giants as another head coaching spot?
No, you know, that was, you know, it was a battlefield promotion, you know, when Chip, you know, was for 1 week. You know, it was an honor to be the head coach. You know, I coached there for 13 years with, you know, 10 with Andy and then 3 with Chip. So, you know, that's a big part of who I am, that experience with the Eagles. And so it was an honor to be their coach for one game. And then, you know, at that time it was a time of big change, you know, for the Eagles, and you know, they brought in Doug and a new staff, and it's worked out really well for them. They've won a Super Bowl. So, you know, I think along the way you learn a lot of things, but you know, I don't know how much of that will help us in this game.
Hey, thanks a lot, Pat. Lots of luck to you Thursday night.